Is this on? Hold on. Hello? Yes, is it? It's on. I hope so. I think it's on. Yeah, green light. Okay, hello. Today's topic. Envy is your blueprint. Or your envy is your blueprint. Same thing, essentially. Um, and I'm gonna explain all of that. But first, I wanna start. I feel like I've arranged so much today, I just feel a little uncomfortable everywhere I sit, so I'm just gonna cross my legs. So, is this too low as well? Oops. Wait, is that on? Did I take it off? I think I just took it off. This is really bad. Where is it? I don't know if I'll keep this, but I've already started. Oh my god, I think it's just on now. Sorry. I don't want to restart, so this will have to do. Okay, so first, let's start with the obvious. When you acknowledge something, and acknowledging something in general is always the first step. You acknowledge there's something wrong in your life. You wanna, you have a bad habit that you wanna stop doing or whatever. So you acknowledge that. That's the first step. As they say, the first step is to always just acknowledge the fact that there's something you want to change. That's with anything. So that's the first step. That's always going to be the first step, and that's always very, very important and very significant, just as significant as the other steps. Just because it's like, you might think it's like you're starting to notice, for example, you get jealous about other people, and then you start feeling, this is where the guilt comes in, and you feel miserable, you feel like a horrible person. You're like, oh my god, like, especially for girls. Okay, I can say, like, I think, oh my god, growing up, it's so easy to get these sort of feelings until you find yourself, really, and then you're like, wait, there's actually no competition. There never was any competition. But envy and jealousy, and it doesn't just have to be on appearance and between girls, and it's like it can be on so many different things and on so many different levels, and it can also be very snaky and cheeky, and you might think you're not envious when you really are, because it can be about someone's money, someone's job, it can be about someone's spouse. Is that how you say it? I think so. Anyways, the first step is always acknowledging it. And when I say this, right, when I say this, I don't mean beat yourself down for it. Is this a great thing to feel? No. Okay, but are we humans, and we are made of both bad and good, quote unquote, like, whatever. Not, I don't like those words to frame it as, but we are so complex. There's nothing else I can say. I always say the same thing because that's the easiest, best way to put it. And so if you're gonna instantly go on that route of being like, this is such a negative thing I'm feeling, this is so horrible, and beat yourself down for it, you're already compartmentalizing yourself, and that emotion, that thought you had when you envied someone, when you were jealous of someone or something, you're compartmentalizing it already. So now you've put it somewhere and you've given it life in a way. Do you get it? Just let it be. You let it pass, and you do that by not internalizing it. Acknowledge it. Acknowledge the fact that you're feeling this, and be like, maybe this is something I don't want to align with. I don't want to go around feeling jealous of other people, okay? But you don't really know how to change it. Cool, fine. First, just acknowledge this, and then later the other steps will follow, okay? But first, just acknowledge. Don't give it like life. Do you get what I'm trying to say? Don't make it a bad thing. It's not either a good thing or a bad thing, like we grew up and it's always like, no, you're bad, good girl and bad girl, or bad boy and bad girl. Like, do the relax, okay? Relax. Okay, so first acknowledge, right? Cool. You're feeling jealousy for of someone, or like you're envious of them. Great, cool. I've acknowledged this. Now, you need to learn to become, is it a spectator? I think that's the word. To almost become like a third person. You know how there's first person, second person, third person, right? You know, in Minecraft, this is the easiest way I can explain it of video games, because I always just think of that when I think of this. When you're like playing and you can go in different modes, like as in like you can see everything as you're seeing it through the eyes of the player, or you can be like here where you see your arms, or you can be sort of like lingering at the front where you can see your whole body. But no one really likes to play in that mode, right? You prefer to just be like as if you're the player and you just see the whole world because it's easier to navigate, right? And but like there is that thing where you can kind of, you're sort of like a little bird on top and you can see your character moving around. Cool. That's how you have to be with yourself sometimes. You have to go in third person. So there's a word for this. I always forget my words. Not a watcher, because a watcher sounds creepy, like you're stalking yourself. It's a I forgot the word, but anyways, it's like sort of like a watcher, I guess. Is that even a word? When you're sort of third person to yourself, you that's why I say you don't compartmentalize anything. You don't discuss it in your head. It's neither good or bad. You don't come to conclusions. You kind of just, you're a spectator. You kind of just watch. You watch your thoughts. You watch your emotions. Sometimes you have to go into that mode with yourself, especially when you're trying to change, when you want to change things about yourself, when you want to grow, when you want to heal from things that happened to you in the past. Sometimes you have to kind of take that mode and you're kind of zooming out in a way. All right. And you're like, okay, it's never that deep. Let me just zoom out for a sec and see it from like a different point of view, you know? And so what happens when you start seeing it like that, you understand that it's not that deep, like I said, and it's not about you, you know, and not in a way to sound like, of course, your life is about you and everything, but you realize, oh, it's not about you, and it is so much about you as well. I don't feel like I'm making sense, but bear with me. Okay, so now you're here, right? And you're watching yourself and you're trying to understand, why is it, you're going to start questioning yourself. Why is it that, this is where the questions come in. This is why it's good to sit here, because sometimes when you sit here, you can realize, okay, what am I feeling? And there's always going to be the reoccurring emotions, the reoccurring thoughts that you're having and that you're feeling. And so then you can easily be like, okay, you spot the things and you're like, why do I do this? Why is that? And you start questioning things and you start understanding yourself better. Essentially, that's all it is. And you start questioning, why is it always that I'm getting jealous about over the specific person, the specific guy, the specific girl, or the specific thing? You know, it's always this about them, or it's always that. It's this. And you start realizing the patterns and seeing the patterns. And then you're like, okay, so is this about me? Yes, it is about you. It's always been about you. And this is where it's going to be like, okay, you know how I said it's not that deep? And in the sense of like, it's not that deep. It's just you. It's you. And it's the things inside of you that maybe you're lacking, or maybe, is that nice? But I guess that's how you'd say it. Maybe something that you're lacking, something that you feel you lack, that you see in other people. And this is why I say that envy is your blueprint. Your envy is your blueprint, because this is going to make you realize what is it that you at your core, and here in the bottom of everything, where people don't exist, where opinions don't exist, what is it that is triggering over there? Something there is not stable. Something there feels shaky. Around that person, around that specific person, something in your foundation is shaky. Why? It's not about them. Forget it. It was never about them. Okay. What is what is shaky over there? And you need to really look at your blueprint. You need to open it back up and maybe you've never opened it before, but you need to get really visual about your mind and your emotions. You see how I'm explaining everything? I'm saying video games and blueprints, and open it up. This is how I do it. This is how I do it, so that I can understand myself better, so that I can like grow and heal from things, right? Get a bit visual with it and open up your blueprint and see what is it there that's like, maybe this is a screw loose. So a screw loose. Isn't that about things? Not like that, not in that sense, but there's a screw loose in your foundation, right? There's something that is unstable, that is triggering, and this is where you just have to be honest. I'm not gonna lie. It's something that you probably knew all along. It's like, what is it triggering? What is it pissing you off? Okay. Let me give an example, because it's always easier with examples. As a girl, I think this is very common to feel envy and jealousy, or also to have other people envy you and get jealous of you. When I was younger and I was a teenager and I was going through a lot and I was healing, I was definitely very easily jealous of other people. I would say the pattern for me was people that, for example, girls. Let me think of something that's common. I would say for me, but this is why it's not so common. For me, it was always money, because I always was so obsessed and attached to money, and growing up, like, not so fortunate, I would be like, that's daddy's money. Yeah, that was mine. It's like when a girl would have like very nice clothes, or like she would be able to go out a lot and she would be able to just do things. But because we were all young and no one was working, we knew that the people who had money was just because their parents, were well off. So I always would get envious of that, as in, like, that's not your money. I don't know why you're acting like you're all this when that's not even your money. Like, you're bragging about your new clothes, but that's not your money. Did you do that? I used to get envious about that and get jealous and be like, because like no one would provide those things for me. And only when I started working at 16, I could do all these things and be like, okay, now it's my money. And I would get so like envious, like, it's not yours. You didn't work you didn't work a 12-hour shift for that. And that was my thing. And then I had to realize, okay, it's fine. It's absolutely fine, and it's nothing to do with that person. It's absolutely nothing to do with that person and their father's money, because that's none of my business. That's none of your business. That's just the easiest way to put it. I'm sorry. It's not your business. What someone else does, and just take that, right? Those envies and things, and learn more about yourself, okay? Because at least now you're at an advantage, right? This person has helped you without them even realizing. Understand more about yourself. Okay, so now turn this energy, that you have, this envy, whatever, into, okay, what is it that I feel like I lack? What is it that I feel like I need? Do you know what I mean? And work with that. This is why I say, I'm not saying another person's things, another person's money, another person's beauty is your blueprint. That's not what I said from the start. No, because otherwise I would have said that. I said your envy is your blueprint. Your envy. Okay, that is your blueprint. It's nothing to do with the other person. It's nothing to do with them. It's your envy. Okay, utilize that to your advantage to open up your blueprint, to allow you to open up your blueprint and see what is lacking. Where is it that is shaking the foundation, and this is why I also said at the start, don't attach to emotions and to feelings. You feel envy, don't now attach to it, because now you've compartmentalized it and now you've made it seem like a bigger thing than it is, when you can just utilize that to look at your blueprint again. What is missing? What is shaking? Do you know what I mean? Is it now starting to make sense? Thank you. Right. So that's essentially what it is. And this is another reason why I say don't compartmentalize that envy, because energy doesn't just die. We all know this from physics and everything. Okay, let's not get into energy, but it can be transmuted. Okay, everything can be transmuted. Amazing. So now learn how to transmute that energy that might come from a negative state and feel like jealousy, a state of lacking something, feeling like you lack something when you don't lack anything in the world. But it's okay. We feel those things. We're human. Transmute that energy. Transmute that energy. First, acknowledge it. Acknowledge, pay attention to where it is, what is it coming from. Also acknowledge the fact that it's nothing to do with that person. Okay, bounce it back to yourself. It's not, don't send envy. Don't just be sending negative energy like that and then expect it not to come back to you, because it's going to come back to you anyways, but not in a way to scare you, but it's just, the cycle of life and everything. And so now acknowledge that it has nothing to do with them either. That energy is going to come back to you. Great. Work on it, transmute it. Okay, what is it? Where is it coming from? Be honest with yourself. This is where you just get honest. Being honest with yourself is the best gift you could give yourself and the best thing you can do for yourself. Honestly, this is the way you're going to really transmute energy. This is where it actually changes and you actually get the progress and the results. It's just being honest. Okay, what is it that I feel here? Okay. Yeah. I want to drink tea, but every time I drink tea, I laugh. I'm going to do it anyways. I don't know what's wrong. Anyways, okay, last thing. It's gotten really dark. That's why, because the sun is going down, so I feel like you can barely see me. Last thing, okay, you've been honest with yourself now. You've been through the trenches, because that's the trenches, where the trenches are, right? You're having to be honest with yourself. Now you work on it, okay? Work on this. Maybe it everything is different, especially like I gave one example, but it could be so many different things. But really, if you come from a state of, like, if you've already acknowledged that it has nothing to do with that person and it was something that you felt you were lacking and now you're working on it, it is going to get better. It is. But like I said at the start, don't look at it from, I'm such a horrible person, I'm such a miserable person for like feeling like this, or like, just accept everything and be honest about what it is that you want for yourself and change, or make sure you get in a state where you can get that thing or be that way, and all in all, to end this though, why is closing so quickly? Okay, this is where it can get toxic. Now, just because you've acknowledged it has nothing to do with that person and something lacking with you that you felt was lacking with you, doesn't mean you now sit around and you pick out every little thing about you and be like, oh, this person is so good at this person is so good at this person is so, and this is where you have to understand boundaries and don't let it get toxic. Okay, for example, let's say, I'm gonna give a good example. I feel like for this, let's say there's a specific is this a good example? Celebrities, I don't know, is that a good example? But okay, I'll give that example, yeah. Okay, so let's say there's specific celebrities that you obsessively started, like, stalking and looking and being like, I'm so jealous, why is she like this? She has that, and she has that, and she's got that, and this is not a great example because for celebrities, but whatever. Or like a specific group of people, okay? And like, let's say it's a friend group, and you just obsess over them and obsess over how they look, the things they wear, blah blah blah, and you're on social media always obsessing over them. And now you've done the whole process of like, okay, what is it I feel like I should do now? It's not about copying these people. It's not about you're copying exactly what they do. Do you know what I mean? It's not about like, okay, this girl has black hair and now you're gonna dye your hair black because she's got black hair and because you're envious of her beauty or something. It's about looking within you. What is it that you feel like you lack? Because you don't lack anything in reality. So what is it that you feel like you lack? Do you feel like you lack beauty? Okay, and then that's something you need to change, and that you don't change by a hair color, babe. Oh no. You don't change that by a hair color. You change a hair color because you feel like it, because you want to, because you don't change it because you want to look more beautiful, because you feel like if it starts from a place where you feel like you're not as beautiful and that color is going to make you more beautiful because she's got that no, that's completely off. That's completely off. You don't change that. You change the way you look at yourself. This is what I mean, the blueprint. Yeah, the foundation is always about that. It's about how you see yourself, your inner world. How do you see that? Do you value yourself enough to be like, I actually look beautiful the way I am, before you have to go change anything about yourself? Or before you, do you understand what I'm trying to say? This is not about, like I said at the start, this is not about them. So now don't go copying others. Okay. And the last thing I want to say, because it's not about them, if it gets to a point where you feel like, okay, now you're seeing them on social media all the time, but you're trying to work on these things, and your envy and your jealousy, just remove. You don't have to, just remove. Okay, great, you've acknowledged this. Now you don't have to like torture yourself. And if, okay, great, remove these people, remove people from your life that might be feeding into your insecurities. Friends in real life that maybe it's always easy because you're insecure, it's always easy for them to make fun of you. Remove those people. You don't need those. That's not constructive criticism. That's not okay. You can do the work yourself. You don't need these types of people. You don't need these types of energies. Okay, just get rid of those things. You know what I mean? Don't torture yourself over it. Like, work on it. Okay, great, but don't torture yourself over it. Just, yeah. To be honest with me, it was like, I remember the specific time. I was around probably 16, because that's around when things like it got so dark in here. Spooky. It's like ghost horror stories or something. It's like I'm gonna say a horror story. Anyways, and I was 16ish, and I was just scrolling through Instagram, and it was like, I'm seeing all these supermodels and celebrities looking so good, waking up in the morning looking like amazing and all these things, and then your brain kind of starts to think of so many things. Yeah, but they've done work on the face. Yeah, but this is not the natural face. Yeah, but they have this much money to lose. Yeah, but this is not fair. Yeah, but they can't. And it's like, and I was like, in that moment, I just decided, I was like, I don't want to feel like this anymore. So I removed everyone. Because why are we following these? Like, what? To me, it finally clicked, and I was like, why am I just following random people that I'm just gonna send negative energy towards, and I'm just gonna get envious about, when it's really not even like, it's my choice to follow these people. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? So then I just removed everyone, and I just deleted everything. And I was like, maybe I'm the problem. And I started to like, I got off social media, and I took a break, and I was like, let me just sit with myself. Okay, let me just sit with myself and see where the problem is and what the issue is. And honestly, that made such a big difference to me. It was like so relaxing to finally wake up and not like have to scroll. It's kind of like we're torturing ourselves. It's like you're torturing yourself. You're scrolling, and all these people you follow are gonna like post eventually, and then you see all the posts, and then you're like, oh, it's such a good day. It's just having such a good day. It's like, okay, if it makes you feel anyway. Like, look, for example, now this is why it's so beautiful, because we're humans and we go through different stages. Now I could open up Instagram and I could follow all the supermodels in the world and all the celebrities, and I wouldn't feel like that, not one bit, because now I've healed and now I've grown, and this is what's going to happen with you as well. And that's why life is beautiful. So why not work on these things when you're now young, or whatever, now, and just in the present moment, so that then eventually you won't even have to flinch. You don't even think about these things. Like, I could be following and seeing all these pictures now, and it's like, it doesn't make any sort of reaction in my body. It doesn't evoke, let's use professional words, it doesn't evoke any sort of emotion, any sort of thoughts in my body of like, oh, I wish I was like that. I'm just like, okay, she's having a good day. Wow, looks good. Wow, I can admire people now, and I can admire beauty, and I can, wow, she's making a lot of money, because that is my forget beauty. I was all about money, and I was like, oh, daddy's money. Nothing wrong with that. Absolutely nothing wrong with having daddy's money. Enjoy it. But that was definitely triggering in the past. Oh, she got a car at 16. I would scratch my No, honestly. It's funny now. See, it's funny I can laugh at it because it's not that bad. It's never that deep. It was really never that deep. You know, just be honest with yourself. Oh wow, this is long. Also, it's so dark. Wow, it got so dark. Anyways, thank you so much for listening, watching and everything. I hope it helped somebody. I'm sending all the love as usual. Bye bye.